Governor Kotek has called a special session of the Oregon legislature starting August 29th. They will try to approve a transportation bill to reverse massive layoffs at the Oregon Department of Transportation and provide needed funding to local transportation agencies. A nearly $2 billion transportation package failed during the regular session amid concerns about big increases in taxes and fees. So what's different this time around? Senator Lew Frederick is the Senate Majority Whip representing North and Northeast Portland. Senator Frederick is chair of the Senate Education Committee, and he's on the Joint Ways and Means Committee as well. A former spokesperson for Portland Public Schools and a former television news reporter, Frederick has been in the legislature since 2009. Senator Lew Frederick, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you again. Nice to be here in person rather than on a Zoom.
Yes, we have Zoomed a lot in the past, haven't we? You've been through a few special sessions. What's happening behind the scenes now as we lead up to August 29th?
Well, I think a lot of things that are going on behind the scenes are basically people talking. We have the ability to start saying, okay, how do we get this through? We have some basic ideas, I think, that people are working on, but it's everyone talking. It's not an uncommon situation. I've been through quite a few special sessions, both as a legislator and as a reporter. So watching the special sessions take place, and when I worked for the Portland schools, because we ended up with struggles with financial issues that can be important, and this is a hugely important one.
What's your role as Senate Majority Whip?
Well, the whip is more for me discovering what people are thinking about, what folks are talking about in my caucus as well as outside the caucus. One of the things that I sort of want to make sure that people understand is we do talk with one another, Democrats and Republicans. There's not a free-for-all taking place every day. We had 3,900 or 3,600 bills that were introduced. We passed 700 of those bills, and 92% of those were were bills that were passed unanimously or with small opposition, or bipartisan, basically. So I have a lot of people talking, and so as a whip, I try to find out what's going on and talking with people and getting a sense of that and bringing that back to my caucus and the staff and other folks as we get a sense of how we can get some things done. And no one's going to agree on everything, and that's the case. So we try to figure out how that's going to work and what the concerns might be for different things.
How important is passing a transportation bill in this special session?
It's very important. We need to. There's a basic issue that we're struggling with, and that is statewide. We ended up having a tour of the state, of the Transportation Committee, and as we went around the state, there were two primary concerns. One was safety. One was and repair of roads and keep making sure that people are in fact safe on the roads. And then understanding how we figure out how we're going to make sure that we can pay for this on a long-term basis. The safety issue is a key one, and you can't have safety if you don't have people working on those roads. And if we don't have the money to have people working on those roads don't get repaired. So this is a very key element of what we're working with right now.
Republicans who rejected the transportation bill during the session say the taxes and fees associated with it were too high, and there was no accountability for ODOT. House Republican leader Christine Drazen was on this program, and she said as much. Take a listen.
So we're talking about an agency that has a culture that refuses to stay within their budget and produce on behalf of Oregonians. The Democrats' proposal didn't even take a glancing effort towards fixing that. They just simply doubled down on the highest tax increase in Oregon's history.
Does she have a point there?
No. Simply because, in fact, there was a significant part of the bills that we were talking about that would audit and try to find out where the money was going. She and I do agree on one thing, and that is that, in fact, ODOT has had a serious problem of general confidence in the staffing and the administration and the approach that we've taken in terms of transportation in this state. And I've been talking about that for some time. if you cannot believe that ODOT is going to do something correctly, then you're going to stop. You're going to say, well, let's not do anything. We can't afford to not do anything. We, in fact, wanted to look at how we could fund the transportation issues in the state, and they are significant. This is not just a small amount, and they're significant for a couple of reasons. One is we rely on the gas tax in order to pay for roads and repairs and issues in terms of transportation. But as you know, we have electric vehicles and we have hybrid vehicles, and they don't use as much gas. And so they're still on the roads. In fact, many of the electric vehicles are heavier than the other vehicles. So they create even more of a problem on the roads. So we are struggling with how do we have enough resources to pay for things. And then we're struggling with who pays for these things. And there are other issues that are involved. So we've had to deal with a series of concerns about transportation in the state, and we have to figure out how we're going to work together on them. That is the key element. We have to put as many different approaches within that. That includes things like intermodal transportation between cities. If you want to get to a hospital or a medical issue, and you live in LeGrand and you need to get to Portland for that medical issues, there is not a public transportation aspect to that. You cannot get here easily. If you want to get from Tillamook over to the valley, you have a very few, or up and down the coast, you have very few opportunities and options there. We need to figure out how to deal with that. And when it comes to just basic transportation, this is the kind of thing that we heard constantly as we were touring. If you want to go to Tillamook and you go to Highway 6 to Tillamook, if you go in the morning, if you come back at night, you're going to be dealing with possibly a slide of some form because that Highway 6 constantly is falling apart because of just where it is, the geography, and because we need to be able to repair it. You have to have people to do that. And if you don't have the people, the workers to do that, then you're having a problem. ODOT has to change. The part of the process that I understand is underway, part of the discussion that's clearly underway is how do we audit and keep track of what's going on with ODOT long term.
Senator, we've got less than a minute left, but the governor's proposal does include raising the gas tax, increasing registration and title fees, and also hiking the payroll tax for transit. How different is her proposal from what you voted on before?
It's a little different, and I understand that's still being worked out. Those individual issues are still being worked out. So I don't expect that I can speak to specifics on that particular proposal until I see the specifics, and quite frankly, I haven't yet. I know that people are talking. So we'll have more from the governor's proposal as she talks with the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate and the administrator and the chairs of the Transportation Committee.
Senator Lew Frederick, good luck in the special session.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thank you for inviting me.